The nurse glanced up from her screen and called out my name with a practiced smile. "Mr. Rowan, the doctor will see you now." My pulse was calm, my hands oddly steady. Lena sat beside me, absorbed in her phone, treating the moment like a dentist visit instead of a decision that had followed days of sharp arguments. She wanted the procedure done. She said she was done with surprises. I agreed, though not for the reasons she believed. Inside the exam room, the physician greeted us warmly, then adjusted his glasses and looked at her. "Mrs. Rowan, would you mind waiting just outside? I need a few minutes alone with your husband." She hesitated, clearly irritated, but stood and left. Her footsteps echoed down the hall, each click of her shoes sounding like a countdown. When the door shut, the doctor's expression changed. He lowered his voice. "Mr. Rowan, there's something you need to hear." He opened a folder, but didn't look at me. "Before this kind of surgery, we run standard tests. Your most recent sample shows no viable sperm." I laughed once, short and hollow. "That can't be right. We have a 6-month-old. He exhaled slowly. I repeated the test. "Then I checked your history. You've been infertile for several years." The room seemed to lose its shape. The buzzing lights, the sterile scent, the sympathy in his eyes all faded into a cold, ringing void. He slid papers across the desk, dates, charts, medical confirmation. Evidence that didn't accuse loudly, but didn't need to. That night, I didn't shout or accuse. I packed a small bag, placed my keys on the kitchen counter, and walked out. Not forever. Just far enough to think. I had met Lena 8 years earlier at a fundraiser downtown. She laughed freely, like someone untouched by disappointment. I was careful, structured, an engineer who trusted plans more than people. She was spontaneous, brilliant, impossible to ignore. I thought we completed each other. When she said she loved me, I never questioned it. Betrayal has a way of rearranging the past. Moments resurface with new meaning. Conferences that lasted too long. A sudden need for privacy. Her phone turned face down after every buzz. The smallest detail hurt the most. The way she began treating me as if I were temporary. I didn't confront her right away. I needed certainty. I called in a favor from an old college friend who worked in forensic testing. I gave him a bottle, a pacifier, a hairbrush. I told him it was a legal matter. 3 days later, his message came through. "The child isn't yours." I stared at the words until they blurred. Strangely, I didn't feel anger. I felt clarity. I wasn't trapped. I was free to choose what came next. I moved carefully. I emptied our joint account, taking only what was legally mine. I contacted my lawyer and filed for divorce, without accusations. I requested certified medical records confirming my condition. Then I waited. When I returned home, Lena laughed nervously. "You just disappeared," she said. "What was that about?" "I needed space," I replied. "You were right about the surgery. I scheduled it." Her relief was visible. That week, I was everything she wanted, kind, attentive, predictable. I cooked dinner. I listened. I let her believe the ground beneath her was solid. On Friday, I asked her to come with me to the clinic to finalize paperwork. She arrived dressed as if it were a date. At the front desk, a receptionist handed her a folder by mistake. She opened it without thinking. Her face drained of color as she read. She looked at me like someone realizing they couldn't reach the surface. "Read the highlighted section," I said quietly. Her hands shook. "This doesn't make sense." I nodded. "That's what I said too." I turned and walked away. No scene. No shouting. Just absence. She called for days. Texted. Pleaded. The last message said, "Please. He needs you." She was wrong. What he needed was truth. I never told anyone. I didn't have to. Stories unravel on their own when someone is desperate to keep them together. Her affair partner, my business associate, left the firm. His wife filed for divorce. Lena moved back in with her parents and sold the house I had designed for us. I didn't celebrate. I didn't need to. People think revenge is loud. It isn't. It's quiet. It's measured. It's knowing exactly when to speak and when not to. I never told her how I knew. Never mentioned the doctor, the test, or the nights I planned. Words I never used. The sharpest punishment wasn't what I did. It was what I withheld. Sometimes I think back to that exam room, to the moment my life divided. The man who believed in love, and the man who learned the value of truth. Between them is a silence I walked away from. She still lives in that silence. I never will.